Four Midwest Guys presents...
Where should I go? What should I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Here's Johnny.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Good morning, Vietnam!
I am the father.
2017 Film Expectations.
So let it be written, so let it be done.
Welcome back to Four Midwest Guys, 2017 Expectations. This is our part two. The first one ran a little long, so we kind of divided it in half. So we're going to be picking back up with Baywatch on May 26th, which has its kind of reboot of the old TV show with two unlikely prospective lifeguards compete for jobs alongside
Yeah,
California.
read that description.
Huh?
Yeah, read that description.
Yeah. So yeah, it has The Rock and who else in it?
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron.
And
Okay.
eye candy. And
Some
that's
more.
about it.
Yeah, that's about all I'm expecting from this movie is eye candy.
That's pretty much all I was expecting from the
I gotta
show,
be honest,
too.
like I don't think this is marketed to me.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny is that it's like a almost like a spoof on the TV show because they make a joke about it, like
The running slow thing.
This sounds like based off a bad TV show,
Yeah.
or you know, does she always look like she's running in slow mo?
Yeah,
Right.
You see that too? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What does
kinda
this
see
have
that
to
a bit
do
the
with
Chips
being a
thing, too.
lifeguard?
We were in lifeguard pursuit.
Yeah.
That's not
Like,
even
what
a
do you
thing.
mean, you people? You don't get to say that.
Other than the girl with the big boob, blonde with big boobs, that's about all I care about here.
Well, that's pretty much all anyone cared about in the original show, too.
I don't know. Was there another reason people watched that show? Like,
No.
it didn't seem like it really had much to it outside of just
Running in
there's
slow motion and bouncing. That's about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So does anyone actually want to see this?
No.
No.
Not really.
Not really.
Okay. Well, moving on. We have Wonder Woman on June 2nd, which is the origin story taking place during World War One. And this is going to be DC's third, installment in their, universe
Yeah,
sort of
the
thing.
new
Unless you
universe.
count Man of Steel, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess we
don't
are
know.
including Man of
I
Steel
guess,
since
yeah,
that is.
Man of Steel
So,
would be
yeah, it'd be the
second.
fourth.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited for this one. I think this is going to be their first decent movie. I think it's possible.
Their first good one.
Which
I think
one
they're
comes
gonna
out
do it.
before this one? What were the other three?
Those Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
yeah.
Oh,
Suicide
yeah.
Batman
Squad.
v Superman.
I wasn't really counting
and-
that one because it didn't really.
Yeah.
It still kind of takes place in the
Yeah.
same universe since it has,
True. Since it has-
Batman,
yeah.
whatever.
Depressio.
Is that what we're calling that Batman?
That's
what
pretty
I-
much what I'm calling the whole series.
From what I've seen from the trailers, this one looks like it's going to be decent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
We're
looking
hoping
forward
so.
to it. Yep.
I hope so. It could be good.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm excited to see it. I hope it does well. I hope it's sticks with the mythos of Wonder Woman, is actually entertaining.
it's a little varied off because I don't think the other ones actually have her her origin story taking place during World War One. So that's kind of an interesting little change.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that.
and it does kind of make it similar to kind of the Captain America sort of thing in certain regards as well.
Oh yeah, doing the whole the original.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day.
The first
then
Justice
you have
League
that real
member.
emphasis
Yeah,
on her shield in this one.
instead of the first soldier, it's the
The first Avenger.
yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, a lot of the problems with the previous two DC films have really just been on the editing table and kind of DC or WB kind of being kind of reactionary and, skittish with their films. I mean, a lot of this could be really good and then just post-production, just an edit, they just kind of chop it up.
If there's one thing I'm going to be worried about is it seems like there's been at least from the other reports and news reports we're getting, that there seems to be some sort of a shakeup at WB. So my only thing I'd be worried about is them maybe already screwing with a finished product.
Yeah,
I mean, to realign with whatever new storylines they're going with.
when-
Because they're
when-
rewriting Flash. The Batman movie seems to be in
Yeah, they
shambles.
lost the director.
Well, yeah,
Who's the star of the film.
Affleck's stepping down. That there's information, disinformation on the Batman going back and forth. Affleck was asked if he was happy. He said he wasn't. He didn't like the script, and now all of a sudden he loves the script, of course, and that's probably just polish. But
well, I mean, we saw that kind of following Batman vs Superman. We've seen that following, Suicide Squad as well.
It just
like you're just curious, like which side of this is being reactionary, which side is getting freaked out.
Well, even Leto was pissed off because they cut so much at the Joker.
Yeah,
that's good though. I
well,
like his
he was pissed off because like when they approached him, they said he had a bigger role, and they filmed so much more that it was probably like half a movie's worth.
Right. So they
essentially lied to their cast.
Right. So if they take this approach though with they decide to start reshooting. Well, it's too late for reshoots, but if they start cutting stuff out of this movie, it could be.
Well,
bad.
I mean, if you look at Batman vs Superman, that was clearly a large part of that. They tried to fit 2 films in that film.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It should have been Batman v Superman and then Dawn of Justice. Those should have been 2 separate movies.
You gotta like build up to Doomsday. You don't just throw him in as an Act 3.
Well, either that or like if you're not going to do the death of Superman like right out the gate.
Right.
I mean, unless you count Man of Steel, which you kind of can, but I'm not sure if that's where you want to throw that in. But I don't know, like if
badly handled.
If we see this being kind of poorly edited in the same way we've seen the last 2 films, like, do you think DC needs to like sign another agreement with either Fox or Sony, or like try to transition away from WB?
If they continue in this direction, that the way that they've been handling movies, like all their like tentpole franchises and everything, something has to be done, because if you think about it, from Batman v Superman, we have very little build up to Justice League, because we have Suicide Squad, then Wonder Woman, and it just goes straight into Justice League.
Yeah, and
which
then we're
we'll cover that
getting
later.
Like some of the other films like Flash.
Yeah,
Aquaman
we're not going to
later
get that
on.
until later. So it's like we are not even getting any chance to have these characters endearing to us at all.
Yeah, it's really trying to go with the tear down the door model of like trying to introduce everyone.
It's trying so hard to not be Marvel that it's just becoming more of a harm.
I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things, like, if you look at the animated films, all of them do really good. None of them are necessarily shared universes necessarily.
Well, except for The Killing Joke.
It had its moments, but it wasn't the greatest animated one. But at the same time, like, all those do actually really good films, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the live action ones, it's really just a lot of you lose a lot on the editing floor, you lose a lot in how they're approaching it. I mean, at what point do you say, like, you want to try, like, a different direction with it?
Maybe just hand the writers from the animated movies over to the live action ones.
Possibly.
I wouldn't mind that.
All right. Moving on to June 9th, we have The Mummy coming out, which isn't actually a remake of the Scorpion King sort of Mummy, but actually the Universal Studio classic Mummy franchise, or classic movie monster.
Technically, didn't they already try to do that with the Brendan Fraser one from '99?
No, that's the Scorpion King one. That is, I don't think that's technically a Mummy remake, is it?
No, that was.
Was it?
That was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware that was Universal.
It was, there was definitely like one of their trying to revitalize their Universal monsters in '99.
Okay, because that's essentially the plan here, as far as I know, is that they're going to try to redo the entire Universal monster cast with like Creature of the Black Lagoon, and like have that all in the same universe.
Yeah, they're trying to tie them together.
They tried that already with the Wolfman back in like 2010.
I actually like that movie.
Which, it was not bad, yeah.
No.
With the Mummy?
No, it didn't.
They didn't tie them together.
No, they didn't tie them together.
Yeah, that's
but
what they want to do.
They've been trying to do that.
They saw what Marvel's done and what DC's done. They want to do that with their
all their
Dracula,
monsters.
with Dracula, Frankenstein, everybody. Yeah,
I don't know. I think if you ever seen like Monster Squad back in the day, it kind of had like the entire like group in there in that film, and I don't know. I think there's like ways you can do that.
That's how to do it right.
I like that film personally.
Yeah, that's a great
like
movie.
I think like you can kind of
campy,
reboot that, and you can kind of do the Marvel big universe thing, and I think it can be kind of interesting. And to be honest, outside of like the Mummy and Wolfman, you really haven't seen a lot of the old classic like Universal monsters things really redone that well. It's not like Spider-Man where it's done like every 3 years.
Well, we've seen a lot of like failed Frankenstein movies come out lately.
Well, what's funny? What's funny is I really thought they were going to try to do that with Van Helsing.
Yeah,
like I really thought that they could have made Van Helsing.
Yeah, they were going to try. With that.
I thought they really could have made Van Helsing like the center and Battle Dracula, Battle Frankenstein, or whatever, and made it
just have it a Van Helsing.
But again,
that
was actually from the guy that did the remake of the Mummy.
Yeah,
so it was. I don't know. This just seems like something they've been trying to do for like the last 20 years.
Yeah. So, are we at a point where we can actually kind of keep going with like having like a full reboot franchise sort of thing with the Universal monsters?
You know, it's it almost seems like it's got to be something like the way that DC and Marvel are handling their franchises almost.
Oh yeah, like you
where it's
have to have like that same writing
you have
team
to
kind
have
of
like
handling a large part of
yeah,
it.
you have to have like every single one of these monsters on a slate to get remade. I mean, like the early '90s actually had a really good attempt at it with Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder. Then you had Mary Shelley's Frankenstein come out 2 years later, the Kenneth Branagh one with Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
that would have been
a really good.
That was a really good Frankenstein. That would have been a great start into revitalizing the Universal
had they
monsters.
wanted to do that from the get go, they really could have. That would have been a good start for it.
Yeah, but it just seems. Maybe the thing they need to do is like just send it over to like more visionary directors that love the source material and want to find a way to give it a new.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of directors that really would love like have a chance of like rebooting those old kind of horror franchises, like because by modern standards they might be a little tacky or like a little outdated, but they're kind of a cool franchise in its own right.
Yeah.
Though with this one we do have Princess Amentet in the Mummy character instead of like I guess. What was it in the original? Just like Amun Ra sort of thing?
Yeah, something like that.
Imhotep. Yeah, it was Imhotep, yeah.
Right. So they're kind of changing out the gender on that a little bit, and that actually seems like kind of a cool character design in the trailer, so that might be kind of interesting.
I did like her eyes, double-eyed.
The four-eye thing, yeah. That was kind of neat.
I don't know. I think my biggest concern with the film going forward is just the casting of Tom Cruise. Like, you just see him just screaming. Just screaming, barreling it through air.
I don't know. We'll see.
Mission Impossible meets the monster movies.
Yeah. Like that seems like a weird way to go with it, and
it kind of does. I mean, as much as I love Tom Cruise, like every time I see him in something, it kind of surprises me all the time.
Yeah.
I wonder how the surprise on this one's gonna play out if it does, because he doesn't really attach himself to like really awful movies.
I don't know. Like his films can be kind of hit or miss, really.
We'll see. I mean, he surprised me with the Mission Impossible. Of course, that's all he's been doing lately. But still.
Oh, and Jack Reacher wasn't.
Jack Reacher was good too. Yeah. So
I heard the second one sucked.
Yeah, except the second one.
I haven't seen the second one yet.
I haven't seen either.
So.
All right. So on to Cars 3, which comes out June 16th, and this is kind of another car movie that I don't know how it's lasted this long. I get kids like it, but
kids like it.
The thing is, like, this is the worst Pixar film, and they've made the most sequels of it.
They're the two worst Pixar films.
I think they're...
Well, no, they had Cars, Cars 2, Planes, and I think also Planes 2.
Planes was Disney.
Is Planes Disney?
It's not Pixar.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the same premise.
It's essentially the same thing, yeah, anthropomorphic vehicles.
Okay. I thought that was the same company.
No, it's not. I mean, well, in the sense that they're Disney, yes, but...
No, they're all kind of shit, but...
Yeah, Cars and Cars 2...
Cars 1 was decent. I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible.
An interesting idea.
If they go back to that kind of storytelling with Cars 3 like they did in Cars 1, I'd be satisfied with it. Cars 2 sucked ass, but that was strictly for kids. I mean, it was,
Though I have to be honest, I do like the trailer they've set out for Cars 3, just because you see, like, the main dude just crash, and you're like, yes, you finally killed him.
You know what?
This is what I've always wanted out of this franchise.
What they're going for. They're going for that dark, or not dark, but more drama.
Right.
Based.
You know what? If they really want to
survives.
If they really want to appeal to the audience, that should have been Larry the Cable Guy. That should have been Mater like flipping over and burning out, and then just everyone be like, "We have to see this movie."
Mater's fine as a side character. He just should never have been made the main character like he was in.
And that's why he should have been like flamed out and died in the third one.
All right, so did anyone go see this or take your kids to see it or anything like that?
I'm sure Gabby will want to see it. I have no doubt I'll be taking her at some point. I'm sure.
Right, I'm enjoying the fact that my daughter's like liking Ratatouille and The Incredibles so much. I'm just gonna like keep her in that Pixar universe for now.
Okay, just ignore the Cars thing.
No, there's no cars. There's no car thing. Just play with your Hot Wheels. You're fine.
Good luck with that with Disney marketing.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah. Doing what I can.
All right, so after that we have June 23rd, Transformers: The Last Night.
I hate this.
Which is...
Don't tease us. It's not the last.
Oh, no, it's not. It is like...
It's like the Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Which one is this up
4.
to? 6? 7?
This is 5.
5? Like, I don't know. I haven't really watched these after the second one, so I don't know if this has gotten better as a series or if it's just getting worse and worse.
It consistently gets worse.
I don't know. I like the last one wasn't horrible.
My thing is, and it's just because I watched the cartoon series and I I'm probably in the minority, but I actually take like what they established in the cartoon series is actually halfway decent storytelling in some shape and form until they get into the headmaster crap. But so in the fact that they took all that great mythos that they created in the cartoon and they did nothing with it, or they shit on it like they did with the Matrix. That's
the
what
Allspark.
That's bullshit too. That
Here's the Matrix of whatever. Here's Robot Heaven.
Yeah, the Allspark I could kind of
Transformers 9.
Allspark I'm okay with. I was okay with the Allspark. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But what they did with the Matrix and 2, just I said I'm done. I forget it.
You just haven't seen it since either.
Fuck you, Bay, and I just joined the rest of everybody else and said fuck it. I mean they're action packed. You can eat a lot of popcorn to it, but that's if you like things that move really, really quickly and you don't know what the hell's going on at first. And
exactly,
they're fun for action flicks.
It's basically junkyard vomit for 2.5 hours with occasional stone.
I don't know. Wasn't there that thing where like people will like watch Transformers 1 through 3?
Yeah, and they're exactly the same fucking movie.
I wonder if that applies if you continue with 4.
Probably
in this one.
Yeah,
I don't think it does because Shia LaBeouf isn't in it.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Like they prove like the same plot points are all the same.
I know. Does Wahlberg make it better?
Actually, he kind of did. Made it a little better.
It's at least a change of pace.
Yeah, he was a little better. When it wasn't just that whiny kid from the first ones.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on to June 30th, we have Despicable Me 3, which has Gru facing off against Balthazar Bratt, who's voiced by Matt Stone from
Trey Parker.
Oh, is it
Trey
Parker?
Parker?
Oh, my bad.
From, that alone is what made me excited to see this.
Yeah, like honestly, like the Minions movie kind of sucked.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minions movie was awful.
You never make a lead story about side characters ever.
But
well, I mean, you can, but just they did it so poorly.
But Minions aside, I've enjoyed the Despicable Me 1 and 2. I've enjoyed that
both
story.
of those I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
They're cute.
And
they're cute. They're fun.
Just the Minions was bad.
You can take your kids to it and not have to, just sit back, relax, and you can occasionally laugh. It's
but I think there's something funny about having Trey Parker,
exactly.
voice the villain and just be like this 80s retro inspired, just obsessed sort of character. But it's clearly like making fun of itself a bit. He's got like the little bald spot in the back, and
like when I first started watching the trailer for this, I was like, oh god, another one of these.
Oh, I know. I mean, you have.
But then
so
it said
sequels.
Trey Parker as his voice, and I just
you can clearly tell
instantly
him. There's parts in the trailer where it's like he's clearly doing his Michael Jackson impersonation while he's moonwalking as the character. I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see it. It looks kind of funny. All right, so going on to July 7th, we have Spider-Man Homecoming, which has Sony and Marvel's Spider-Man reboot.
Yep. This will be a big test. We'll see if Civil War pans over into the Sony universe with Marvel now helping out. High expectations. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But
how well will Hot Aunt May go over?
So far, I'm fine with it. It's better than old wrinkly May.
There's the joke about how you have Spider-Man universe being more or less Benjamin Button. Like, he just keeps getting younger and younger with every reboot.
She keeps getting younger. And But by the next reboot, he's going to be a baby, and she's going to be like, Aunt May's going to be 12 years old.
Yeah. It's going to be something along those lines. But I don't know, like, if this does well, can we kind of expect, like, Fox to kind of follow suit and try to, like, reintroduce the characters back into the Marvel universe?
They were smart.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if Fox will. They're holding out so tightly.
Well, I understand they're doing all right with, like, the X-Men films, but...
They're making money with those. But
it's not like Fantastic Four is doing anything. Like
Deadpool is...
Yeah, that's their shining star.
Deadpool is now their shining star. They don't have to worry too much right now.
Brian, what do you think? I know you're a big Spider-Man fan.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, like, I really enjoyed the last Spider-Man that came out, and it's like, why do we keep rebooting? Every time you kind of get vested in a character, it reboots.
Yeah. Because I liked Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man.
I really
did.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
it was great.
I actually really hated the sequel. The Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
But that's not his fault, though.
Actually, I thought it was really good, especially there at the end when Gwen, goes... I really thought that was going to be the introduction of Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
Like he was going to, infuse some of his blood into her.
There's definitely
keep her
ways
alive
they could have gone that made that interesting, but just... I hated Jamie Foxx as like
that was
As like electric fanboy.
yeah,
because he's like I'm all blue, and then I'm rematerialized. Look at my outfit.
Yeah.
Like, where'd the outfit come from? What the hell?
yeah. I don't know, like that, and I feel like it was going down the same route of like, let's just introduce as many villains as possible in a Spider-Man film.
Yeah.
It'll make it work.
We've seen that happen before. It doesn't work out.
Yeah, like just focus on one or two, you'll be fine.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it could be good. It'll be interesting to see how it works. Clearly, they're having Spider-Man set up to being in the Infinity Stone or like the Infinity War sort of thing.
My biggest thing is, everyone's always, the big controversy is casting Zendaya as Mary Jane. My thing with that is, who is she? Like, I mean,
Character or the actress?
The actress. I mean, at least with the other Mary Janes we've had before, like Kirsten Dunst had some acting cred behind her before she was cast. Emma Stone definitely had some acting cred behind her before she was cast. Zendaya is a Disney princess at this point. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
Why was she on a Disney show?
Oh, yeah.
that's pretty much all she is.
She was on Shake It Up Chicago, and she was on Shake It Up something or other, and she was on some kind of spy show.
Oh, okay.
Caitlin watched a bunch of them. That's why I knew who it was, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like it's out of the and what's really funny is like out of the ones that were on that show, I really thought when they said they cast a Disney person from Shake It Up Chicago to be, I didn't think her. I thought the other girl.
Okay. I don't know, but don't most like Disney actresses and actors kind of do that one film like after they're leaving the Disney world where it's just like, look, I can do some other stuff, or it's like I'm going to try to go as far away from the Disney stuff as possible.
No, they just basically do like the Miley Cyrus or Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera routes. It's just, look at me, I'm mature, here's my chest, or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, Britney Spears is all good.
So yeah, that's...
I did it again. Oh, sorry.
All right. So moving on to War of the Planet of the Apes, coming out July 14th, it has Caesar and the apes embroiled in a war against an army of humans. And this will be the third Planet of the Apes film since it's been rebooted.
Yep, and I've liked both of them so far.
Oh, hell yeah, I've loved them.
I've heard good things. I haven't caught any
They
of them
are...
yet.
Oh,
God
you need to.
damn, they're so good.
They're really good.
Yeah.
Especially the first one.
Yeah.
The first one was amazing.
First one was really amazing. The second one, like, the action scenes in that movie are so phenomenal. And it's some of the best visual effects out there right now, because if you talk to, like, any, like, visual effects artists out there, they'll say what is the most difficult thing to animate, and that's hair. Mm-hmm. And you don't just have one major character that is very convincing. You have about 7 or 8 like major ape roles that are like very prominent.
So a lot of time goes into each individual scene.
A lot of time is going through each and every individual scene of this, and it definitely shows. It's brilliant. It's wonderful to look at. The action scenes are amazing. It's one of the best franchises out there.
Yeah, it is really good. I can't wait for this one.
So do you think this is going to live up to the sequel or former ones?
Yep. Like just from looking from the trailer, this one looks like it has a lot of action because it's like obviously war.
Yeah, it's the war.
Yeah, so I mean, looks like there's gonna be a lot of action, and that's what the last one really emphasized on was the action scenes. Not so much the story of it, but the action. Like the first one was basically all story.
Yeah.
But it was really, really good.
And not to give the second one like any like demerits or anything, the story was still really good in the second one too. I mean, just.
I don't know. I guess I'm still spoiled by the crap that they put out in the 90s.
Have you never seen this?
I haven't watched any of them yet.
What?
And that's the reason
my
why
God.
I haven't.
Oh my God, you guys really need to watch this.
You gotta watch this, man.
There was some in the 90s?
Yeah, it was horrible. What was it? The Planet, when they did Planet of the Apes?
Oh, the Tim Burton one?
Yeah.
That was garbage.
It was
There
horrible.
was a Tim Burton Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, that's how he met his wife, Helena Bonham Carter. He saw her in ape makeup and said, "I love you."
I remember seeing, and I remember we even went to the cheap seats to see it, and it was just...
You overpaid.
Yeah, we did. And I was just
Brian, you guys really need to watch these.
Yeah, no, these movies...
Really good.
Yeah.
Are just... They actually rival the original that Rod Serling wrote.
Really? Do you think, with this one, you actually have a chance of eventually surpassing the original series? Or
possibly, yeah. I mean, because with the original Planet of the Apes series, the first one was the best, and the other ones were just kind of okay or pretty good. This is one that the series seems to consistently get better.
Rock on.
I mean, this could be like watching this could be the Bourne Ultimatum of the series, where it's like the third is the best.
Yeah,
we've had a couple trilogy films where that's actually been the case, so that'd be cool. All right, so moving on to Dunkirk in July 21st.
Yes.
A war film directed by Christopher Nolan has Allied soldiers from Britain, Belgium, Canada, and France are surrounded by a German army on the beaches of Dunkirk.
Yep.
And the trailer for this looks fucking amazing. As a person who doesn't normally dig war films, this looks fucking amazing.
I'm excited for this as I was for Saving Private Ryan, and I have those same kind of expectations attached to this one. This looks amazing to me.
Yeah,
it's a great story in history too, because the British are literally being kicked out of Europe by the Axis powers, and they're literally surrounded, and they have to use whatever means necessary to try to get them back to England to regroup. Essentially,
it's a pretty bleak story for a summer film. I'll say that
it is. Yeah, I mean, but I'm very much looking forward to this. This is.
I'm in the minority. I care less.
You really not interested in this?
No.
There are, like, when I said, like, there are 5 movies, I said, like, if I had to, like, pick, like, the 5, like, babysitter films, like, I have to get a babysitter to see this.
Yeah.
This is one of my 5.
Oh, yeah.
Because the other one was Guardians of the Galaxy 2. The other one's Dunkirk, because it's Christopher Nolan, you know?
Yeah.
The guy has consistently been phenomenal with everything he's made. And one of the most recent movies I've seen, Atonement, with James McAvoy and Keira Knightley, there's a scene in that film that's set in Dunkirk. And it's one of the most, hauntingly beautiful scenes in a film. It's like a 4.5 minute unbroken Steadicam shot that basically shows, like, the aftermath of essentially the British Army losing.
Yeah, literally.
Spoiler alert.
Well, literally,
it's in history. So.
The Germans,
it's in history.
Yeah, the Germans are literally pushing them into the ocean. Literally,
yeah,
I mean, it's that bad.
So when I heard that Nolan was making the movie that was essentially about that war, I went, and it's coming out during the summer? Oh man, this is going to be dark, and it's going to have like all these One Direction girls like falling all over the main characters. Like, if he kills him off in this movie, I'm going to want to be there to see them.
At the
see
same
like the
time,
heartbreak
though,
in their eyes.
With all the things coming out, like, why wouldn't you go for, like, the occasional dark flick? Like, out of everything we have on here, like...
It's great counter-programming.
Yeah, like, you just have so much content out there. There's stuff coming out all year round. Like, if you're going to do a big film and you just want to go with whatever way you want to direct it now, like, there's so much other stuff out there. Like, you can find a niche audience, clearly.
Well, it's definitely a great counter to all the comic book movies and that sort of genre of movie.
Oh, yeah.
Really. It's the 180. It's the reality check, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it really shows kind of one of the more desperate times of humanity, and like,
it's the height of the Third Reich. I mean, evil is literally winning.
Yeah,
but yeah. So.
All right. So moving on to something different, we have Valerian and a City of 1,000 Planets coming out July 21st.
The same weekend as our bleak war film.
Yeah, and this is
not
based
real
off an old like 1960s French comic called Valerian and Laureline. And supposedly this is actually inspiration for a lot of other sci-fi films that have come out since. Like, it's been an inspiration for, like, Fifth Element, and just a lot of stuff, like, in the back in the day.
Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, which this trailer does have that feel. It could be either or. It could be Fifth Element, or it could be Jupiter Ascending.
Well, because it says it's from the same director too of the Fifth Element.
Yeah,
so.
Right. So,
which I love the Fifth Element.
I do too. It's also kind of become a cult classic over the years too.
Yeah,
to be perfectly
it definitely
honest.
is by this point.
It's got a devoted fan base behind it.
Yeah,
it's just a fun movie.
Multi-pass, yeah.
Like, I'm not really expecting this to be like a huge hit this year, but I feel like this actually could, if it does well, be in the same category where it could eventually be like its own form of like a cult classic.
Unless it becomes like Ender's Game.
Yeah, or it could be like Ender's Game, which
wasn't a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie, no, but it's just marketing stuff like that to an audience that's like not familiar with the franchise. It's really hard. Which
actually, I never would have watched it if they weren't doing Force Awakens. I just wanted to see Han or Harrison Ford in a space role again, just to see what it'd be like in Force Awakens. You know, that's the only reason I even watched the thing. But it was really good.
Hugo blasts aliens.
Precisely.
I don't know, but personally, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be hopefully a good film. I mean, it could go either way. So after that, we have The Dark Tower, which is based off a Stephen King like graphic novel series. One that I'm actually not that familiar with, to be honest. Even though I've heard it's had like great reviews and like it's a well-loved series, but
Haven't they been working on this forever?
Yes.
Yeah.
Several years.
Yes. Like I remember since like the late '90s they were trying to get it made.
Really?
Oh,
It's been that long?
It's been that long. Of course, that was the thing in the '90s was making Stephen King films.
Well, yeah.
Everybody wanted to make a Stephen King film in the 90s.
Well, that was late 80s into early mid-90s, right?
Oh, no. So, like, straight through the 90s.
Really?
Yeah. Because, what was it? The Green Mile came out in 99.
Oh, that's right. That is a Stephen King.
I forgot about that.
I would have been okay with this one not coming out. I'm not thrilled about it. We watched the trailer and I was like, eh.
Well, the trailer
trailer's like an unfinished trailer,
No,
too.
but even still, like, just...
it's kind of like a Western.
Yeah, like I never read the books or anything, but it just doesn't seem like hit.
I don't know. It seems like it could be an interesting, like, alternative fantasy series. It's just not knowing the material. I can't really comment too heavily.
I feel like I have to go back and read it again just to.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't read anything. All I saw was the unfinished trailer, but if it's Stephen King, it's got potential. I mean, that's about the only thing I can say.
I think to answer your question, I think the last Stephen King movie that kind of like killed it for everyone was Dreamcatcher.
I don't even remember that one.
It had the shit weasels.
Shit weasels.
Yeah,
no, feel free. No,
shit weasels.
what is a shit weasel?
Oh God, where to begin? But I think that's for another podcast.
All right, fair enough. Well, moving on to another Stephen King source, we have the reboot of It on September 8th. Which is either an adaptation of the novel or a remake of the adaptation.
The TV series.
Yeah.
If it's an adaptation of the book, there's going to be a lot of underage sex in this film.
Well, yeah, you can't do the preteen gangbang at the end of the film. No one's going to let that fucking pass.
No, they won't. That book I remember reading when I was in school.
There's an argument to be made that that's actually what it is referring to, and it's not the clown. That's actually the scene that is the title is formed on. But yeah, no one wants to have that in theaters. I don't think that's going to work.
This is going to be interesting to see how it plays out because. As goofy as the original miniseries was, and I'm sorry for everybody that thinks it's scary, it's still very goofy.
There's a lot of people that's got a cult following that mini TV series.
Well, yeah, but then you also have like Tim Curry playing Pennywise the Clown, and like
Tim Curry's just hilarious.
Yeah, Tim Curry does a great fucking role as it. Like it's one of the better parts of that series.
Yeah,
because
he just hammed it up and had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. But like, what is it? They have one of the Skarsgårds playing the new Pennywise the Clown, and just like they give him this giant forehead, and it looks kind of weird and out there. And I am not really thinking this is going to be a good reboot, to be honest.
No, I don't see this reboot working very well.
All right. So moving on, we have Blade Runner 2049 coming out on October 6th, and it's a sequel to Blade Runner.
Harrison Ford back on the sequel train again.
Yeah.
What if he gets killed off in this one?
I hope not. That would suck.
Just every movie Ford does from now on, he dies.
You know, that was another.
He takes Sean
spoiler
Bean's
alert.
title as the most killed man in film.
That was the other thing too. Is I think we were talking about this when we just watched the trailer again. I was sitting there thinking, it's like, wait a minute. Okay, in the original Blade Runner, which was set like 30 years before this one, they said that the replicants basically had, was it a 3 or 4 year lifespan in the movie? But by the end of the original movie, like the big question was, is Harrison Ford's character a replicant? And then a couple years ago, Ridley Scott actually came out and said, yes, Deckard is a replicant. So if this is taking place like 30 years after the original, did the replicants suddenly get a long lifespan all of a sudden? I mean...
No, I think you're just ruining the spoiler, which is it's not the original Deckard.
Okay, so...
You have no reason to invest in the clone.
I'm interested to see...
He just keeps remaking himself over and over and over again, reactivating.
Yeah. Just every 3 years he gets a new body. Just switches his mind into it.
And he just makes himself older every time.
That makes sense. I mean, because that's what the whole thing with the original was about. I mean, and that makes me interested, because I want to kind of see where it goes, because the whole thing was kind of a play on, man rejecting God and, science rejecting God, and
right.
It's a really interesting movie.
I never watched it, but I've heard good things.
Jesus, really?
Yeah, I've never watched Blade Runner.
Revoke your sci-fi cred right now.
I have very little cred in anything.
It's okay, Aaron. Up until 2 years ago, I'd never seen it either.
But you've seen it, though.
Oh, yeah, I did see it.
Like I said, I don't really have credits in anything, so it's all good. All right, anything else we want to add on this?
No.
All right. So October 6th, we have Kingsman Golden Circle, a sequel to Kingsman film that came out a few years ago. This time with the cast heading to the U.S. equivalent of the Kingsman after the Kingsman's main office is destroyed. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing this one. Like, I wasn't expecting to like the last Kingsman film, but after going into it, it's actually an amazingly good film, even though the villain clearly wins. And it never addresses the fact the villain clearly wins.
I didn't like the last one.
I loved Kingsman. I went into it.
I just didn't get into it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I
I love the action scenes,
freaking
like that church
loved
fight
it.
scene.
Oh my god,
where they take over his mind, and the
and
church
it's
goes
like
crazy.
Colin. I never thought I'd hear the phrase like Colin Firth badass moments in that movie. I was like,
oh,
this is
it's such a
fucking
well done
awesome.
scene.
Yeah,
slaughters
it is
everybody.
perfect, and it's a one take too, so it's even more amazingly choreographed.
Even though you do have like that one dude just railing around a chair in the air at one point. Like if you like rewatch it enough, you see that dude in the background. He's like not doing anything with it.
That's
just
fine. I
above
mean,
his head.
that's up there with like the extras from Birdman and the one take on that one too. But no, I mean, I loved Kingsman. I watch it again. It's so much damn fun.
And I mean, it had such cool villains. Like you have Samuel L. Jackson's character
as a guy with a lisp that hates blood.
Yeah. And then you have like his assistant who just has like those like fake blade legs that are
oh yeah, Gazelle,
awesome.
yeah.
Which really was just an amazingly cool, henchman character.
And in the end, was it Obama's head blows up?
Yeah.
I just laughed my ass off when I saw that scene.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that really enjoy that scene. Just
I'm
play that
sure
scene
there
on
is,
repeat.
but yeah.
All right, so going on, we have Thor Ragnarok coming out November 3rd.
Yay.
Which will be, what is this, the second Marvel film this year or third?
I think third.
Because we have Guardians.
We have Guardians, we have Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah,
that'd be third.
And then this will be the third.
Well, if you count Spider-Man, it's a Sony thing, but still. Yeah.
Well,
Might
it's
as well be.
in
Sony/Marvel.
collaboration,
Right.
so.
Right.
So we have Thor apparently imprisoned on another world without his hammer, must outlive a gladiatorial duel against Hulk in order to return to Asgard and stop the villainous Hela. Of course, that's coming from the Wikipedia article of it. We know Doctor Strange is in it as well. Supposedly, if you go to the end credits of Doctor Strange, where Thor is looking for Odin, so it might have like kind of a lot going on in it. And as we get closer to Infinity War, like it'll be interesting to see how it transitions into that.
Just as I believe, just as Captain America has set up the last two Avengers, this movie will set up the Infinity. This will bring it to fruition, as it were.
All right, you're not expecting like the Black Panther film to kind of set that up too much?
Not really, no. I think Black Panther's kind of off on his own.
Do you have Black Panther before the next Infinity War? Or?
Yeah, think he should be out either this year or next year, I believe.
It's 2018, I believe.
Nice.
Okay. So it should be shooting sometime this year.
It's already started.
Yeah,
just started.
Yeah, they've already
Because I know
started
they did the
shooting it.
casting of it.
Yeah. So it's...
I don't know. Like, I wasn't horribly impressed with the last Thor film, but it seemed interesting and it had its moments.
The
so
Dark World?
Yeah.
That was alright.
This
yeah,
one,
like, it was kind of basic.
I think this one's will actually be better, especially you're going to have the Hulk in it, and you're going to have the Hulk with armor on it. That alone makes it better than the second one.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that the Hulk wasn't in
the Dark World.
No, the last
Civil
movie.
War.
Oh, in Civil War.
Yeah.
You know, I like that video they did. What Thor and Hulk were doing.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, he just punches him.
Well, no, it was like a whole
this might
video
actually go
like,
over that.
with like Thor like rooming up with some guy.
He was
and
in
it's
the
got like an
office.
office temp job.
Yeah.
And Hulk's like getting a call like text from Captain America. He's like, oh, stuff's bad. It's like, oh, can I get the phone? I was like, oh, wait. He's like, oh, do you want to talk to? Oh no, you don't want to talk to? Okay.
Nice.
It was
It was Thor and Dave or something like that.
Yeah, Thor and Dave.
Nice.
But yeah, I think this will be a really good movie. I think this might be the best in the Thor series, and I've enjoyed them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, they've been a good introductory series. I'm not sure if it's the highlight of Marvel's universe, but they've been, steady.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, if I had to pick a bottom of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it'd probably be the 2 Thor films. I mean, I'm not that interested in them. They just don't leave that much of an impression on me. This one might be the best of the 3, but for me, that's not that high of a bar to set for it.
Yeah.
What's funny is every time I hear Thor, only thing I can think of is Avengers and babysitting.
Are you? Oh yeah.
And the
kid,
the mechanic.
Yeah.
The mechanic who was his name was Thor, and the kid was all like obsessed with Thor, and he had the ball cap, but he had the long blonde hair.
Yeah.
I keep thinking of the one guy from the Mystery Science Theater episode Zombie Nightmare. His name's like John Micklethor. His band Thorchestra did the music.
It's funny because every time I hear Thor, I think of the third Aladdin movie, and they go, "Are you Thor?" Well, it hurts.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron? What do you think about when you hear Thor?
Yeah.
I actually don't really think of anything outside of this, just because I associate that with, the actual Norse mythology model, even though this is a bit different take. There was a Australian or New Zealand show that had the Norse gods reincarnated human people, and I found that version of Thor pretty amusing. Occasionally I think of that, just because it's just this dude out on a farm. He has a normal hammer and just throws it really fucking hard. Just
really funny.
Never comes back or anything. He has to actually go off and fucking chase it.
Nice.
But yeah, it was an amusing show. Alright, so moving on to Justice League, November 17th, we have the events of Batman vs. Superman, of Wonder Woman, and Batman forming the Justice League, or I guess just a group to defend Earth from Steppenwolf and the Parademons that I don't know, is this expanded on in Batman vs. Superman where...
in the extended cut, there.
In the extended cut?
Steppenwolf's in the extended cut.
Okay, because I know, you see the... it was, the clip for it was released a day or two after it first came out, but I wasn't quite sure if that's actually included in it or not.
Yeah, it's there. You see him, he's the big devil-looking dude,
Yeah. Is he actually, intimidating at all, or...?
No, he doesn't say anything. He just...
he's just there?
There, and then he's gone.
Oh,
it's
okay.
just like a real brief cameo. That's the best way to put it.
So it's like Thanos if he came, after the first film?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's except it's in the movie instead of being a after credit scene, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So does anyone actually remember the character Steppenwolf from the comics?
Didn't you write Born to Be Wild or something?
That's the band. Yeah.
That's the band.
But they're basing their title off a Herman Hesse novel. And I'm not sure if that's the same origin for the Steppenwolf of DC Universe.
Yeah, I'm sorry. For as much DC Cinematic Universe, or not, as much DC villain mythology and everything, it's
a weird character.
It's a weird character to make for your Justice League film. You know?
Don't get me wrong. It's a character that's kind of below Apocalypse, or not Apocalypse, but
well, it was all
Darkseid.
Darkseid. It was all the followers. So you got that one, and then you got Granny
Goodside.
Granny Goodside,
or Granny Goodness, or whatever.
And then there was one other.
It was his adopted son.
Yeah, there was a couple. There was a couple more from the cartoon series.
Yeah.
And
I never remember Steppenwolf.
But
me neither.
I don't remember Steppenwolf either. But I remember there were
the Parademons.
Yeah, I remember the two adopted sons that were traded off between planets.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a very cool storyline.
That would have been kind of fun for Justice League, but I'm Steppenwolf?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you had what was it, the High Father, and then Darkseid was the devil, essentially. Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna,
sons.
I mean, since we've got the Supergirl TV series, I think Granny Goodness would be a great villain to introduce there.
Actually, that would be, to be honest. It'd be a very good character to introduce.
Because you have all the female Furies or her main villains in the show, which that'd have been perfect.
Yeah, actually would be really cool. I'm not expecting them to do it, but we could hope. All right, so Brian, you want to take the next one?
Yes. So on December 15th, 2017, unless you've been living under a rock.
What is it, Brian?
It is the premiere of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. will premiere. Obviously, I'm most excited for this. Duh.
Do you think we're going to do any podcasts on that?
I
think
there might be a few.
Can we do Can we mention
We do
the
8 of them.
unofficial theme song for this movie? Because it's a pretty cool theme song.
Theme song.
You don't remember it? The Last Jedi, Who Eats Other Jedi?
Oh yeah, the Rian Johnson song.
Come on, it was tweeted out by the actual director for the film.
Yeah,
It's
Rian
made by
Johnson.
the lead singer of the Mountain Goats. It's kind of cool.
It's great.
It's awesome, man.
The director trolling his own fans. That's great.
I'm just saying, you normally love the music for Star Wars.
I do.
If they include it in the film, it's going to be so fucking
But
fun.
no, this is the one I've been waiting for. So we finally get Luke Skywalker and a lot of Luke Skywalker, and
How
I'm
much
happy
Luke
about
Skywalker?
The end of it.
Possibly.
He's the last Jedi.
We'll see.
Just like Tom Cruise was the last
So-
samurai.
We'll hopefully we'll find out whose Rey's parents are. Hopefully we'll find out who Snoke is, so the internet will stop with their 1001 theories. And
Snoke is Rey's father.
You may have just cracked it. No, so
we
have God, and I'm being a smartass right now. If that turns out to be true, I'm
Snoke is Rey's father, and everybody's like, "Not my Snoke."
Get ready, but yeah, it's obvious. It's going to be it's the second one in the new trilogy, which is usually the darkest. That's where everybody expects Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, but I think this is also kind of the film that Disney really needs to be careful about because
Sure.
Generally, with the last one, you kind of give some of the facts that it had so much overlap with the previous films as an homage sort of thing. You kind of give it.
If you overlap and if you do too much homage on this one, it's
You really can't
not gonna
justify
sound
doing
like
it.
this.
With the last one, it was a reintroduction. You can justify it.
This one, you have to go dark. You have to go dark.
This
Not
one,
just that,
no,
but,
you
like,
have to
you
go
can't-
original.
This
You have
one
to
you
be
can't follow
original.
the same as Empire.
Well, no, it can't be Empire Strikes Back all over again, but you have to go.
Like, it doesn't
one
have to
has-
be a complete retelling of the same story.
No,
like,
you can't be
No.
like the way Force Awakens was essentially A New Hope.
Yeah, but in all honesty, it was everybody who bitched about the prequels. You got what you wanted in Force Awakens.
oh,
So,
I like The Force Awakens.
I
I
mean,
do.
it's-
I'm just saying, like,
but
I feel like that's fine for a reintroduction of the series, but
Right.
I don't feel like you can do that going forward.
no, you're not going to
Like,
see
you
a
have-
rehash of Empire
also-
Strikes Back.
And it's
If we're
fine.
being honest, Rey's a bit of a Mary Sue character who's a little overpowered from the get-go.
It's kind of boring.
If you don't justify that, it really
You-
does just come across like bullshit storytelling.
I think you'll get the justification. And
She
that's
needs to lose something, like lose a fight or lose, make a bad decision.
Well, either that
you'll
or
see.
justify like why that makes sense narratively in the
it
first
all
film.
it all comes down to her backstory, and you're going to get that, and you're going to figure a lot of other things are going to be revealed.
Frankly, I don't care so much
What-
about her backstory as I care what she does from here on out as a character.
Here's
Bit
the
of both.
key.
You have to balance it.
Here's the key. The key is if they're smart about it, it will leave you with more. It'll answer the questions you want answered, but it will also leave you asking more questions than you went in with.
So we've created Lost in Star Wars.
Well, no,
In space.
Lost in space.
no,
I
but
feel like that's been done before.
people are
We
going to
need
want
bad CGI monkeys and
You're gonna want-
the guy from Friends.
In all honesty, Jedi is a rehash of the first Star Wars, but it's only good because Empire was fantastic. I mean, this is the glue that holds this whole trilogy together. So.
And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, like I understand Disney wanted to come out of the bat. It wanted to prove it understood the material. It wanted
Yeah.
to show it understood the fans what they wanted.
And I think
this is-
especially after the prequels, you needed that kind of sense
Oh yeah,
of
like
familiarity.
I actually think Seven's probably one of the better films of the Star Wars universe, if not actually the better one. Or the best one.
I love the idea of using Finn, who's I love that idea of having a stormtrooper
Also,
be a main character.
Finn and Poe are probably like
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, my 2.5-year-old like every time it's on has to keep watching it, so I keep picking up on these things.
Yeah.
Rey gets more boring, but Finn and Poe get more interesting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping they make Captain Phasma more interesting if they actually show her in this one.
I hope so.
She was such an underutilized character in the last film.
They marketed her so much. Yeah,
that
was if there was a letdown of episode 7.
Why would you cast someone like Gwendolyn Christie and just have her do like a background role?
Yeah. Well, it would have been, the whole thing would have been better if she had been the stormtrooper that battled Finn at the
TR-8R.
Yeah,
traitor.
Yep. If she was the TR-8R stormtrooper,
you fix everything.
Yes.
But anyway, but yeah, absolutely. So yes, December 15th is marked on my calendar, and the countdown is on.
All right, fair enough. After that, I think this might be the last one we have on the list because as we kind of go later in the year, we have less and less information about the movies going forward. So we have Jumanji coming for December 22nd, which is a remake of...
No, it's not a remake. That's actually what I found out in the summary there. It's like apparently it's a new adventure with 4 teenagers that get sucked into the world.
So you get to see the world.
You get to see the world of Jumanji. So it's kind of like a continuation of the game, yeah.
Okay. So
it's
just
not a
different
remake.
characters. Yeah. Well, sequel then.
So yeah, sequel.
Okay. I can live with that. I was going to say.
And this is another Dwayne Johnson film, which... Some of them are kind of good, and there's other ones where you're just like, yeah, I can kind of miss that, like Baywatch.
And apparently, like, what this is like, each of the 4 teenagers playing it are, like, sucked into an archetype. And then, like, apparently Dwayne Johnson's, like, the jock character or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, if they do this well, I can kind of get behind that. Because when Dwayne Johnson gets funny... He can get really damn funny in a movie.
I mean, he seems like a very personable, nice guy. So, I mean, he definitely has a personality that shows. And it could go well, or... I don't know. It's just one of those things, like, before I want to see it, like, I kind of want to see more of the trailers, kind of see where it's going. Like, it really could go either way in terms of, like, being either an okay remake or just a really shitty movie.
Because as Ankenbauer's Worst of 2016 has proven, a trailer can make all the difference in the world for a film.
It can, and I think it's coming out at a bad time. It's going up against Star Wars, and honestly,
Yeah, it's going to be really hard for it not to just get drowned out by that.
Yeah, I think it so even if it's good, I'd probably wait to get it on Blu-ray. So,
yeah.
But.
All right, so since we pretty much covered all, a lot of the main films, we skipped over a lot of the smaller ones, but these are kind of the ones we have kind of information or are aware of now. Let's just go through, kind of having expectations, bets on kind of how we think this year's going to go. Right. So what do you think is going to be the most profitable, critically viewed, or your own personal favorite? Or I guess in this case, let's go with most profitable.
God, Star Wars.
Last Jedi, yeah.
It's going to be Star Wars easily.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's either Star Wars or Guardians.
Because the last 2 films...
Do you think Guardians has a chance of doing better?
You know what? Yeah. Actually, yeah, I kind of do. Because when Force Awakens came out, I mean, that's like sitting at, what, $960, $970 million right now?
It's ever $1 billion.
I mean, domestically, at least.
Domestically, yeah, it's 900 some odd million last time I looked.
But then right now, Rogue One is kind of tapering off at $530 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I think kind of like the urgency of seeing a Star Wars film's kind of dying off a little bit.
Possibly,
so
but that's
still
a spin-off film, and
yeah,
I think the
is
saga films are going to be better.
So I mean, but it depends on like how well it does. I mean, because even like the second Avengers when it came out, the first Avengers was like over 600 million, whereas the second Avengers was like in the 450s range. So I mean, the immediacy of seeing a film. Like when and that's the problem with doing tentpole films like this once every year or 2 or 3 every year is that
the need to see it really diminishes.
The urgency really diminishes. So
there's always another one next year. Just catch up before then,
right? So I think it's gonna be kind of a.
But I mean, you could also fall into the Game of Thrones category where it's like that's the thing everyone's talking about for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. At some point, you want to see it be part of that conversation.
Oh, yeah,
that kind of fear of missing out thing.
Yeah. But it's, I mean, trust me, the fan base is going to go see it. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to come down to like Last Jedi versus Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah. So how do you think like foreign markets are going to impact that? Because I mean, we have seen China being kind of a bigger and bigger player in terms of like the actual,
which is
like box office numbers.
Which is funny because the Chinese market. I mean, it's funny. Is like the Star Wars films actually kind of don't have that big of a fan base there yet. Because if you've seen like how they've played in China, they're not playing as strongly as like the other blockbusters.
Just because it doesn't have that classical, ingrained in the culture sort of feel to it.
Kind of, yeah. I think, and this is another strange thing about Chinese marketing. If there's anything involving the supernatural, they kind of ban it.
Really?
Oh yeah, like they do not show any kind of supernatural movies there. So I wonder if they kept Star Wars away from the fan base for so long because of like the Force ghosts and everything. So it could have been banned for that reason. So who knows?
Okay. In terms of like critical reviews, like is there anyone you think is going to do what pretty much La La Land did this year and just sweep house in terms of just being?
Yeah, I think the Logan musical at the end of 2017 is going to be like the
Logan musical.
Hugh Jackman's a big guy on Broadway.
Is that the Hugh Barnum one?
Possibly, yeah. The
Like
greatest showman on earth. Yeah.
Barnum Bailey's one.
Yeah.
Celebrate the circus ending this year, I guess.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, playing the critic game is a lot more like risky waters than it is playing the audience game. The audience games, I mean, lately we've seen
a lot of series.
Yeah, so. Franchises. They're simple. They're easy to.
Oh yeah, I mean, with the critical reviews, there's just gonna be like a small film that can kind of come out of nowhere and kind of take it away.
Yeah, like the best reviewed films this year are like Moonlight and Manchester by the Sea. And if you ask like anybody in the mainstream, they're like, "The fuck is that?"
Yeah. I've heard of them, but I haven't gotten around to seeing any of them.
Yeah, which Manchester by the Sea is not as great as I was made out to be.
Yeah. Well,
but anyway, so yeah,
it's going to happen.
Critic games are always hard to gauge.
All right. Anyone else have any idea of that?
No.
All right. So, what do you expect to be your own personal favorite going forward?
Well, we all know mine's The Last Jedi, but that's pretty self-explanatory. If I had to pick another one, I think I'm going to go with Thor as a personal favorite. I think it's good.
Fair enough. I think I'm probably going to lean towards Guardians, the sequel.
Yep. It's not a bad pick.
Either that or Colossus. That could go awesome. Or Colossal.
Colossal.
Yeah, mine's actually Kong Skull Island.
There you go.
That'll be fun.
I really, as long as if it's up to the same par as the last one,
yeah,
I'm really gonna like it. Because the other ones, I think it's because I think the other ones I know I'm gonna like. I know I'm gonna like Last Jedi. I know I'm gonna like Guardians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think I'm gonna go with Kong Skull Island for me.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a really good film. You have an idea of which going to be your personal favorite?
I have no idea. I've had sequels come out that have always disappointed me, or I've had like something new come out that's always like exceeded my expectation. If the franchises hold up, I'm gonna say it's gonna be between Kingsman and Blade Runner.
Okay.
Because if Denis Villeneuve, the guy that directed Arrival, which as we saw from like the last episode I did, Arrival's my favorite movie of last year. He's done Sicario, he's done Prisoners. I mean, he's a great director. And if he applies that kind of mindset with like a visual eye to Blade Runner, I'm going to be sold. It's going to be great. And if Kingsman is a fraction of the fun that the original was, I'm going to be sold on that one too.
Right on. All right, so what film do you think might catch the audience by surprise? Like a smaller film, not necessarily Guardians of the Galaxy or Star Wars, but like just one of the smaller films that might exceed your expectations going forward.
I think The Mummy.
The Mummy?
Yeah, I really think The Mummy's gonna, because I think you're running those people who like the Brandon Fraser ones. You're gonna run into those really old timer ones that really like the old movies. But I think this one is, even with Tom Cruise, is gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna catch a lot of people by surprise.
Yeah, and if it does well, I mean, it could essentially reboot an entire series.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's hoping that'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Logan. I know it's not necessarily maybe not a small movie, but I think it's gonna own March anyway, the month of March, because I think it's pretty much the only thing in March, and I think it's gonna be the best Wolverine movie yet. So, and it's one I'm definitely looking forward to. So.
Yeah, I mean, those are both pretty decent choices. With The Mummy, that could exceed kind of our expectations and kind of, create like its own thing. With Logan, that definitely could be like the best of March and kind of like the best of the Wolverine series. I think for me personally, though, I'm going to go with Colossal, just because it's such an out there stoner concept that I love. That I think if it's done right, it really could be like a cult classic.
Could very well.
John?
I'm gonna go a little odd. Like, I think there's gonna be like kind of a sleeper cult following to this one. It's gonna be Get Out, because Jordan Peele, it's gonna be like his directorial debut. And what's funny is watching this trailer reminds me of those Key and Peele sketches where by the time it was over, you weren't quite sure if you were meant to laugh or if you would be disturbed. But either way, you got something.
It is
deeper
a little
that
close
came
to like
across.
a zombie skits on Key and Peele.
So yeah, I mean, it's this trailer that I'm like, I don't know if I should be laughing at it as a satire, if I should be terrified, but I know there's something deeper going on. So,
but at the same time, like if it doesn't hit the mark in either, it really
right.
could be
I mean,
one of those things.
It's probably gonna be one of those movies. It's not gonna do very well. It's gonna be over. Like it's not gonna be the kind of film that people will be like, oh, I got to see this one. But it's gonna be one that I think gets revisited a lot down the road.
All right. That's fair. So now that we've kind of gone over like the ones we expect to do well, which ones are we expecting to be like the biggest disappointments at the box office this year?
I think Jumanji.
Jumanji?
Oh yeah.
Well, I can't imagine that doing well following
That's what I'm
Last
saying.
Jedi.
So it's going after Last Jedi plus it's Jumanji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we already got The Rock going to
Beach.
No. What was the other one? He went to the island.
Oh, Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yeah.
Journey 2.
Yeah, so we already saw that one. That's basically what this feels like it's going to be.
Yeah, it could be really similar to that.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Jumanji.
All right. I think for me, if it doesn't do well, I think we might be looking at that for Kong Skull Island. Like, I think it could definitely do really well, but if it doesn't hit the marks it needs to, and like people don't show up and they don't come back to see it, like you could have that kind of falling far below its expectations.
Possible.
Any other ideas on it?
I'm gonna say Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets, just because that title does not roll off the tongue. I can't see people like going up and asking for a ticket for it. As great as it looks, I mean, it
could be a hard sell from a sci-fi standpoint.
Yeah, and this is coming from somebody that loved Hugo. And that was a movie that had like $175 million price tag to it. And you're trying to like tell all these kids, hey, you've got to see Hugo. No. These kids like are not going to see it because they're not going to see a movie about a guy that used to make silent films. So,
Brian, any ideas?
Yeah, I'm going to go, even though it might get a little bit of nostalgia, especially from the younger generation, I'm going to say Power Rangers is going to be a bust.
Oh, yeah. I can't imagine
because
that
it's
doing
not
well.
our story.
It's not only is it not our story, but it's going to be god-awful. I don't see that being very, very well done at all.
Cool. I don't know what the budget they expect out of that to be, but I can't imagine it hitting anywhere close.
Yeah.
Like, unless they were really just doing that, like, out of someone's, like, backyard.
Yeah, well, none of the actors, I think, are real well known, so I know they probably didn't pay a lot for them, and so I don't know what they're expecting. They might hit what they're expecting to hit, but in my mind, it's
I'm with you, man. I can't see that doing well, and
they spent $120 million on it, too.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm amazed they spent that much on it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's
like if
way
Saban
too
was
much.
like hoping to like jumpstart a series here, like just because that one fan film came out last year, like it's not going to happen.
No,
like 10 million tops. That's all I would have spent.
We might see another Fantastic Four reboot here.
Yeah. I could see that going really similar to that. All right, so which one of the films do we think is just going to be destroyed critically?
Power Rangers.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't imagine that doing anything above like a 10 on Rotten Tomatoes.
If they're lucky if it gets that.
I'm gonna go odd, and I'm just gonna throw out Justice League in there because I've seen how the DC Cinematic Universe has gone with the critics.
It depends if they keep to like the same like editing style we've seen. If they clean that up, it has a chance of doing better.
If they stay the course with how they keep doing movies, it's going to be ripped to shreds.
Stay the course by overreacting and keep editing the shit out of everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and just keep trying to make things too dark and we're mature.
I feel like you can do dark. It's just
you can do dark, but when you're smart about it, and they're not smart about it.
I mean, at least make it to where you can kind of focus on the film at hand and not be jumping everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, as Brink can say, Empire was dark.
Yeah.
That was done well.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can do dark and be mature.
Yeah.
Right. Any ideas? No? All right. So I guess that's going to be the end of our podcast. Thank you for listening to us, joining us. Feel free to share our links. Feel free to
subscribe.
Like us on Facebook.
Subscribe us.
Subscribe.
Feel free to
share,
comment.
YouTube.
We're trying to get better on reacting back to this sort of things. We thank you for listening in, and hope you enjoy yourself. Have a good night. Thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John.
Gotta try to get some sleep before I see the Lego Batman movie in about 7 hours.
Woo!
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Bat.
I almost
Call me
called
Batman.
I almost did.
Batman. Who are you?
Who are you? I'm so easily confused.